Hello, good evening, aspirants. Hoping you all are going fine. So here it is Sanjay Bharadwaj, Senior Faculty of History, teaching history as an optional paper and GS for last more than 20 years in all metro cities, Hyderabad, Bangalore, Chennai, Lucknow, Chandigarh and Delhi. So I think this title is very clear to all of you. So today I am going to discuss different core concepts, basically different core topics which are lying inside the BIHAR special or BIHAR specific history, especially for the 72nd BPSC PT, which is scheduled to be held on 26th July 2026. Recently, BPSC in its calendar had specified the same date. Let us see what happens. So I think I am audible to all of you. So let us start. The topic as such, the heading is like this: Master Class BIHAR Specific History. Why I had categorized as Master Class? Because in this short lecture, I will cover important topics and subtopics lying in the glorious history of BIHAR, ancient, medieval and modern. What topics under BIHAR specific history are relevant? And simultaneously, after this, I will discuss the same lecture in Hindi also. So I think this introduction is very clear. So here in this master class, I will expose which topics lying in the history of BIHAR are important for the coming prelims scheduled to be held on 26 July 2026. Okay, fine. And one thing is very interesting about BPSC. The beauty of this exam, BPSC, that is combined competitive exam, is by systematically preparing for 4 months, I can assure you, you can easily crack the exam because syllabus is very precise. In the earlier lecture, I had discussed the same. There is no need to repeat it. Hardly, in this paper, in GS mains, we are having 3 papers: GS1, GS2 and essay. In GS1, history is acquiring a great share. 3 questions are coming from history, each of 38 marks. It contributes around 114 marks out of 300. So guys, in this way, the mains comprise around 900 marks and history is coming in the paper 1, GS1, GS2 and finally essay. As such, optional is there, but marks is not counted in the merit. So in this way, it is a unique exam if you compare with all other PSCs. Fine. That is why I had abbreviated this BPSC as, it is not only BPSC. BPSC means if you are going through systematic preparation, BPSC means BIHAR prelims sabka clear hoga. So I think you got the meaning. Let us start. So here, first I will discuss ancient history of BIHAR. Then important topics lying in the medieval history of BIHAR. And thirdly, important topics and subtopics lying in the modern history of BIHAR. So this lecture will move in the 3 domain. So let us start with the first important topics of this BIHAR, ancient BIHAR. So if you see the history of BIHAR, In ancient times, in the prehistoric period, protohistoric period, prehistory means Stone Age, proto means Harappan age, and Vedic age. So, in these two ages, first prehistory and protohistory, as such Bihar didn't came into prominence. Reason, I think you are well aware, as we have discussed in the early lectures. In Vedic period, I think you are well aware, in the early Vedic period, iron was not known. Harappan civilization is confined to northwest India. Aryans, early Aryans also in northwest India, sub-Sindhu. Since iron was missing, hence expansion was not possible in the Gangetic Valley, mid-Gangetic Valley. It is only after discovery of iron, around 1000 BC, we find material expansion in the Gangetic Valley. First middle Gangetic Valley, then lower Gangetic Valley. The history of Bihar will start from the later Vedic period. So, in ancient history of Bihar, following topics should be ancient. Following topics. The first time in later Vedic period, so if you go and see the history of Bihar, no doubt in the Stone Age, we have found some sites, Paleolithic, Mesolithic, Neolithic. In Paleolithic, we have found sign at Nalanda, Munger. Mesolithic also in Munger. Neolithic maybe we have found at Chirand in Saran district. But questions are very rarely coming on the Stone Age. So formally we can say it was only after discovery of iron around 1000 BC, that is later Vedic period, we find clear-cut references of Bihar in the later Vedic text. Here, Satpat Brahman is the first text which is a part of Atharvaveda. It is a Brahmana of Atharvaveda, which is referring about migration of Aryans in the mid-Gangetic Valley from river Saraswati to river Gandak. The first time we found reference of expansion of Aryans in Bihar in Satpat Brahmana, a rishi, a priest by the name Vidag Madhav, had carried the ball of fire in his mouth and had burnt the jungles. It is a mythological story which symbolizes that it was the discovery of iron which had made it possible of expansion of Aryans in the middle Gangetic Valley. So fine, it means in ancient history of Bihar, the topics which are very important is right from later Vedic period we find Satpat Brahmana, secondly Mahajanpad period which starts from 6th century BC, 3rd century BC. The first time here we find 3 Janpadas evolve in Bihar by the name Ang, capital was Champa, Vajji, Vaishali, capital was Vaishali, and the most powerful was Magad, capital Rajgir or Rajgir. So guys, here when you go in the ancient history of Bihar, so try to cover the topics from here. Later Vedic period, Mahajanpad period. But keep in your mind, since in the prelims the questions are very factual and very deep questions are coming, the question may arise, the earliest reference of which state has been referred in Mahabharata or Puranas, yeah, which dynasty has been referred. in Mahabharata and Puran, the oldest dynasty of Magad? The answer will not be Haryankas. Answer will not be Haryankas. Answer will be Brihadrat dynasty, founded by King Brihadrat of Magad, whose son was Jarasandh. I think you may be aware, he got defeated by one of the Pandava brother Bhim. So here the point is, you have to be very much factual. Mains में we find questions are conceptual, but prelims में BPSC में questions are very factual. So find topics, you have to start from here. Later Vedic period, then Mahajanpad period, and this from here we find the history of India, that is ancient India, is revolving around Bihar, that is Magad. Gradually this Magad became the phantom state. It was governed by 7 dynasties. The history of Magad revolving around 7 dynasties, and you may be surprised to know, from 6th century BC till 6th century AD, that is almost 1200 years, the whole ancient history of India is revolving around ancient history of Bihar, because Magad was the center of gravity of India's political history. Rajgir Patliputra was the capital, and this glory continued for almost 1200 years till Guptas. So which phases you have to focus? Right from here, then Mahajanpad period. These 3 dynasties, Angas, Vajji and Magad. Magad governed by 7 dynasties. We will discuss in detail later on. Here my motive is to only clarify the important topics coming under the Bihar specific history. So Mahajanpad period, then we have in this Mahajanpad period, we find as we cross this Mahajanpad period, we enter in post Mahajanpad period, that is in times of Mauryas. We find there was a rapid expansion, material expansion in mid Gangetic Valley and lower Gangetic Valley. Even Bangladesh, which is a part of lower Gangetic Valley, was a part of Mauryan Empire. They made a pan-Indian empire. So guys, here, whether you call it as ancient history of India or Bihar special history, both means the same. But questions are coming very factual and very deep with reference to the history of Bihar. The birth of Jainism, Buddhism. Now the next topic after Mahajanpad period is Buddhism, Jainism. Every year 1 and 2 question is coming from this topic, and questions are oftenly repeated. You can see here. Mahavir Swami, Mahabodhi temple, disciple of Mahavir, first disciple of Mahavir. He was Jamli, he was a son-in-law of Mahavir. Mahavir, place of salvation. In which city Mahavir died? Founder of Patliputra. So I think it is very clear that if you go and see the papers, you can verify this truth. Jainism, Buddhism, oftenly 1 and 2 question is coming. So in ancient history, in Bihar's ancient history, every year 2 and 3 question is coming. Out of total 4 and 5, 2 and 3 will be from Bihar history. Now coming to the next. So after Buddhism, Jainism, the next topic which is important is Gupta period. Here, what important changes to try to cover in this way. First time you find now Patliputra is also referred by new names. Kusumpur, Padampur. In times of Guptas, Patliputra was also referred by some new names. But the glory of Patliputra continued even in Gupta period. The birth of Nalanda University under Kumar Gupta. That means what Guptas have contributed to the history of Bihar, it is very important. Like coming of Chinese traveler Fahin in times of Chandragupta II. So Gupta period is equally important for BPSC. Now, since Gupta period is lying in this phase, so whatever contribution Guptas had made in the history of Bihar, we find Patliputra got the new name. Secondly, in Gupta records, the largest province lying in Bihar was a very important fact. So in this way, you have to be very much specific with respect to Bihar. How Guptas are contributing in the history of Bihar. In North Bihar, Guptas made a large province by the name Tir Bhukti. And today I think this Tirhut division in Bihar symbolizes its origin from the same name, Tir Bhukti. Bhukti was a province in Gupta period. This was a land lying between three rivers. Here we have Gandak river, Mahananda, and below we have Ganga, north में Himalayas. Today this zone is oftenly recalled as Mithila zone. So fine. So in this way, Gupta period mein you have to search out. We will cover in this way how they are contributing the history of Bihar. Then what happened in post Gupta period? It is a turning point in the history of Bihar. The glory of Patliputra, which was preserved for almost 1200 years, guys, it got decayed. It is referred by Hoensang in his book Siyuki that the great cities of Mahajanpat periods were lying in ruin. So in post-Gupta period we find, because Gupta period collapsed in 570, now Kannauj became the center of gravity, Harsha. But Harsha is not important in case of history of Bihar because center of gravity was Kannauj. No doubt Bihar was a part of it. Chinese traveler Hoensang is living in Nalanda University. That means those events related with the history of Bihar, only you have to focus on those events. So find, here we find Siyuki, it means history of the West, written by Hoensang. This book is referring that cities of Mahajanpad, that is Patliputra, Kausambi, they were lying in ruins. Then this way you have to search it out. What are the important facts in respective periods? So first keep in your mind, for 1200 years, right from later Vedic period, that is Mahajanpad period, till the downfall of Guptas, the whole history of ancient India is revolving around Bihar. So fine, it means Harsha is not important for the history of Bihar as such, because its capital was Kannauj, lying nearby Delhi. But in the post-Harsha period, again Bihar came into prominence. So next topic will be, after post-Gupta, focus on Palas. They again brought the history of Bihar into prominence especially in the field of art, architecture, promotion of Tantric Buddhism. They governed for almost 400 years. Gopal, Dharampal, Devpal, famous monasteries like Odanpuri, which today signifies as Bihar Sharif. It is a division of administrative division of Nalanda today. So Palas, Gopal, Dharampal, Devpal, Odantpuri, Vikramshila, which corresponds to modern Bhagalpur. So in this way, after Gupta period, we have to focus on Palas and how they glorified the history of Bihar. So here we find again revival of Buddhism, especially Tantric Buddhism, expansion of Buddhism in Tibet and China. It is coming in the same phase. And the most interesting contribution was evolution of a new type of painting, miniature painting on palm leaf. We will discuss this all in a special component of topic art and culture. So when we go and see the history of ancient Bihar, focus only on these topics. One more dynasty is there after Palas. After Palas, this can be called the last dynasty lying in the early medieval period of history of Bihar, Karnataka dynasty. Karnataka dynasty. It is coming just after Palas, around 1100 AD. So this dynasty was Karnataka dynasty, and coming to the 1324, because Tughlaq, Ghazi Malik Tughlaq, Ghasim Tughlaq was the first king who captured this zone under his control. So after Palas, next local dynasty was Karnataka dynasty. Nanak Dev was his founder, and the last king was Hari Singh. And the most important contribution of this Karnataka dynasty in the history of Bihar was this dynasty symbolizes the glorious phase in the promotion of Maithili culture and language. And I think Maithili zone corresponds to land lying between the Gandak river in the west, Mahananda in the east, above Ganga river. To keep in mind, in this way you have to search it out, because here the motive of the lecture is not to discuss topic in detail. Here the motive is to clarify those topics which are important for the Bihar specific history. So I think this is very clear. This is ancient history or early medieval history. Now come to the next. So when you prepare for medieval history of Bihar, we will have to start from Muhammad Bakhtiyar Khilji. I think you are well aware, he was a commander of Muhammad Ghori. When Muhammad Ghori defeated Prithviraj and all, Prithviraj III and all, 1192-94, Jayachand, he sent one of his commander Bakhtiyar to invade Bengal and Bihar. At the time, the whole Bihar and Bengal was under Sen dynasty, Lakshman Sena. So this is a turning point in the history, that is 1196, invasion of a Turk commander, Bakhtiyar Khilji, led to the end of ancient or early medieval and the start of Turkish rule in Bihar and Bengal. And this all was due to the invasion of this Turk commander. So what happened in medieval? What topics you have to cover right from here? Finally, he died around 1206. Then we find it was Iltutmish, who is called as the real founder of Delhi Sultanate. So he had contributed in the history of Bihar. He is the first Sultan who attempted to capture Bihar in a concrete way. He even came to Bihar. And first time in medieval time, the birth of term Bihar, keep in your mind, it was in 12th, 13th century AD, we find this middle Gangetic valley got a name as administrative province referred as Bihar, because it was a land of monasteries. Monastery means Bihar. But in the Persian text, it has been referred as Bihar. The first time the word Bihar came into prominence in medieval India after the Turk invasion, it has been referred in Tagbat-e-Nasiri, composed by Minhaj-us-Siraj. So fine. So what, how Iltutmish has contributed in the history of Bihar? Then Ghazi Malik, I told you just now. He was responsible for the end of Kannada dynasty of Mithila. Then it means in Sultanate period, Bihar name has evolved, but Bihar was a part of Bengal. As such, it has not evolved as a separate provincial unit in Sultanate period. So this all will continue. Finally, after Lodi period, we find in medieval period, then you have to focus on how this because in Bihar specific, you have to see how Sher Shah contributed to the history of Bihar. He established the famous Grand Trunk Road, starting from Sonar Gaon in Bengal to Peshawar in northwest. Along with this, the famous contribution in the history of Bihar of Sher Shah was he gave a new name to Patliputra. And finally, after battle of Surajgarh, he captured the whole South Bihar. In this battle, he defeated the Lohani Afghanis, who had taken the help of Bengal Sultan. It is only after this his ambitions multiplied, and he even challenged the Mughal king of India, Humayun, in battle of Chausa and Kannauj. So here we have to focus only on those events which are lying in the history of Bihar. The battle of Surajgarh, it is near Lakhisarai. Here defeated the Lohani chief who had challenged, who was in alliance with the Bengal Sultan Mahmud Shah. After this, it is battle of Chausa. It is again lying in Bihar. Chausa today is in Buxar, southwest of Buxar. 1539. This is a very important event lying in the history of Bihar. Here defeated Humayun, the Mughal king of India. It is only after this he is referring himself as Sultan. And after next battle, 1540, which is lying in Kannauj, we cannot discuss it here. So guys, in this way, medieval may we find the syllabus of Bihar specific history is very short. Hardly in medieval we find 2 and 3 questions. Ancient may 4 to 5 questions from history of Bihar. Now coming to the next component. You know, in medieval history, Akbar, what happened in times of Mughal period, listen some words. In time, Akbar was the first, keep in your mind, who made Bihar as a separate province in 1576. Then what happened after Aurangzeb? In Aurangzeb time, his grandson Azim Shah gave a new name to Patna, Azimabad. And in the post-Aurangzeb period, in times of Muhammad Shah Rangila, Bihar was merged inside Bengal. Bihar was merged inside Bengal in 1733 and was given to the Nawab of Bengal, named as Sujauddin, 1733. So fine. In modern history of Bihar, you have to focus, because from the arrival of Europeans, first Portuguese, second Dutch, English. Dutch came in Patna first time 1632, and the remains can be seen near the Patna collectorate. English, first settlement 20, then 51, and the remains can be seen near printing press, Patna printing press. So in modern history, you have to start from here. Sometimes question may arise, the first settlement of Dutch in Bihar, English, and then finally Battle of Plassey and Buxar. Buxar itself is lying in Bihar, and since Bihar was a part of Bengal, so in modern history of Bihar, so you have to start from here, then you have to focus, because syllabus mein it has been referred that if you see the syllabus of mains, it has been referred that modern history of Bihar from the mid of 19th century. It means in the history of Bihar, you have to start from here. All revolts, famous revolts like Santhal revolt, Munda revolt, revolt of 57, nextly Indian national movement में freedom struggle में you have to focus on Champaran Satyagraha, because from here it was the first Satyagraha which Gandhi took for the peasant cause, and it was successful. From here Gandhi's reputation started increasing among the common man. So Champaran, then NCM, what happened in Bihar during NCM, CDM, QIM, so in modern history, maximum questions are coming from Bihar history. It is around 8 to 10 questions. It is around 8 to 10 questions which are revolving around these topics. So I think you got my point. Let us wish, and I think this all is very clear to you, and soon I will be going to start in detail ancient history of Bihar, medieval history of Bihar, and modern history of Bihar lectures. Okay guys, wish you all the best.